Welcome to 1999. There's a 13-year-old girl who lives in an orphanage. Was taken to the police station by social worker to report a strange incident. The girl said, "I often dream of a woman with a mace tree tattoo." Reclaiming the lost first part. The police realized it wasn't easy and immediately launched an investigation based on clues from dreams. Results of the survey has revealed a horrific case. Shocking public opinion in Hong Kong right now. The Hello Kitty case. The story takes place at Nine Long, geographical center of Hong Kong. It's surrounded by the sea in 3 directions, along with Hong Kong Island and the New Territories. Nine Long forms the BA main area of Hong Kong. Places like hydrophobic saw injections. Location in Nine Long. It is known as a busy area. Attract visitors with a variety of shopping activities, entertainment, and cultural dining. However, few people know that hidden behind the urban prosperity, at an apartment on Nine Long's busy street, there was once a horrific and mysterious murder. On Monday the 24th of May 1999, as Hong Kong enters the last days of May with the hot weather and the sudden rain, Nine Long police station appeared to women, one big and one small. The older woman, "I'm a social worker from an orphanage. Pier Women's Protection Institute is located near Nine Long Pier. This is a facility run by the Social Welfare Department, provide temporary accommodation and support services for girls in need of protection or illegal immigrants. France is waiting." Stand next to social workers. It's a 13-year-old girl named Fang. According to the social worker, recently, there have been many unusual manifestations. She often has nightmares, waking up in the middle of the night in a panic, confusion, and babbling about. "I saw a woman without a head." That woman kept reclaiming the lost head. At first social workers just thought, a common nightmare. However, she kept dreaming the same dream. That made you suspicious. Social worker decided to conduct psychological counseling for a partner, and all of a sudden, a horrific case was revealed. A 13-year-old has a boyfriend named Liang. The 19-year-old is a street thug. Extremitube 2 months ago, in March 1999, that has taken a party out of the Doc Women's Protection Institute to live together. Their new place is an old apartment. Here I met 2 other men. You're a friend of Mr. I also saw a woman outside with clothes that are ruffled, hair messy ears. According to Falun Gong, this woman was kidnapped by the BA. I don't know who that woman is. I didn't dare to ask how much. During my time living in the apartment, a man has seen the scene many times. His boyfriend and 2 of his friends abused him, beating the queer woman. This guy even forced a guy participating in violence against women by pouring chili oil into the wound and force her to eat her own waste. To see those horrible scenes, a place extremely afraid. She did not dare to defy their orders to do according to. A month later, he couldn't stand the barbaric attack. The poor woman has passed away. To hide the crime, 3 names start to act crazier. They dismembered their victims into pieces, then take it to cook. They even force the body parts cooked into 8 noodles to make delicious food for them. Through those horrible things, a party has suffered serious psychological damage. She's become naive. Spirit of panic. I often see the dead woman reclaiming the lost first part. This is because of the unusual change in the Jiangluan. I was disgusted and decided to break up. Kick her out of the house. There's no place to hide. A Fang forced to go back to protecting doc women. The days after that, she often has nightmares. Health is getting worse. This condition that caught the attention of social workers at the orphanage. Initially, this employee planned to conduct psychological counseling for a partner, but did not expect. Discovered again, she witnessed a horrific murder. Outside after getting the information, you quickly gave a go to the police station to report it. The police immediately took a statement. However, in the process, due to psychological instability, a party cannot continue. The police stopped taking statements. 2 days later, he went to the police station to cooperate with the investigation. This time her spirit was much better than before. A place to say. The victim is a 2-year-old suspect, as a bar hostess BA. Who abused you? Including a Fang's boyfriend is Luan Luan, 19 years old, and 2 of his friends are Tran Van Muk BA years old, and the original salary, the 26-year-old said. After the brutal murder of traitors, 3 men dismembered the victim. When it comes to here, he showed a horrified face and did not dare to speak. Under the guidance of the police, a new method trembling opens an address. Number 31 sugar continuous injection so only. Get a clue. The police immediately sent someone to the address provided. It's an old 5-story apartment building. It has a basement and 4 floors. The crime took place in an apartment on the 3rd floor. Before, she and her boyfriend used to live in the opposite apartment. The police plan to go to the scene for investigation. But she's in a panic. Your face is pale and you refuse to step up. A room is kept downstairs. While some police officers went upstairs to check, they men under the dark stairs on Mo1 bolts. Not long after they arrived in front of the apartment on the 3rd floor, the police knocked on the door but no one answered. They finally decided to break down the door. It's a pungent stench straight into the nose. They're old people with experience. They recognize immediately. It's the smell of decomposing corpses. They turned on the light, and they found it inside a 6-bedroom apartment. Under the floor in the corner of the hallway, it's a giant Hello Kitty doll. It's a mermaid doll. It's outstanding. On the surface there were blood stains and a stench. A policeman holding an iron bar lying on the floor, pierced into Hello Kitty doll. When poking at the head, he feels a hard object inside. Now they're almost sure that there's been a murder in the apartment and immediately call for backup. When the support team arrives at the scene, they carefully slit the raw doll. Inside a stuffed doll filled with ice sheets. It smells bad. After removing all the stuffing, they found a human skull in the head. The skull doll was head-ripe and smelling fishy. Blood leaks out of the flesh that's not completely decomposed. Through the initial inspection, the skull is not intact. The lower jawbone is missing. There are only a few teeth left. The police also found several scattered pieces of teeth and hair. There is a calf hammer inside. In other positions in the household, they went on to discover some more teeth. 2 pieces of stoves containing slate ice, a small refrigerator and a hammer. Especially on the ground floor of the building, they found a plastic bag full of human organs, not completely decomposed. It was also found 9. There's a lot of scratches in the fridge. It's believed to be the remains of 10 bodies. 2 PCS stoves, identified as tools used for cooking. Head and organs. It's still left inside. Some body tissues have not fully decomposed. The head and organs were found at the scene. It's all cooked. The skin and hair of the ear were destroyed, and able to conduct DNA testing to identify the victim. Is it a betrayal or not? The police have invited dental forensics experts to assist in the investigation. They use a photo comparison method to determine the identity of the victim. Images used to compare. It's a picture of suspicious people laughing. Focus on the 2 remaining teeth on the skull, found in the doll. The results show the size and position of the 2 teeth. It's a perfect match. The police confirmed that the body was suspicious. The victim was born in 1975 and is to be 8 years old. When she was 6 years old, your father ran away from home in debt, abandoned his wife and children. Your mother, he later remarried but did not want to raise a daughter. Abandoned by his family, Fan Man was adopted by a young father. Here, she spent her childhood years. Time to escape. 9 years past. Fan Ringni was 15 years old. She was forced to leave the orphanage to be independent. For coming of age. As a rule, children who do not have a congenital disease, at the age of 15, they will not be allowed to remain in the children's home. Leaving the young Nan, no house no door. Fan Mun suspicious, trying to find a job for a living. However, due to her lack of professional skills, they can only do manual labor, like newspaper delivery service, and so on. But they're also regularly fired by SAW because of clumsiness. When there is money, Fan Man will rent accommodation in cheap motels. Even not, you have to drift in the shanty slums. Filthy old young bouncing powder. Fan Mun is suspicious of associating with some unscrupulous young men, often with them, roaming all over the big streets, small lane on the motorbikes. Maybe it's because of his young age. I like to try new things. She's been on the road to addiction. Your meager income is just enough to cover your living expenses. Now there's the burden of addiction. The trader is always in need. To have money, she became the calling. Frequently operating in the area. Dumoulin and steady. Life fluttered by until 1996. When I was 21 years old, recommended by friends and worked at a nightclub. Compared to previous work, the working environment here is safer. Income is also higher. Working less than a year, You must be familiar with a dog. He used to frequent the night. You two started dating and living together. This man's name is Corn. The nickname is a pig. Suspicious love Corn Kai forever passionate. You even quit your job, determined to build a happy life with your partner. However, Engo Kai's mother does not like to be suspicious, given that you're not obviously the type. The kind of perverted slut. That's why suspicions and Corn are still unable to marry. 2 years later, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She moved in with her boyfriend's mother, in the village of the... I don't know why. After living with Engo's mother, he's become increasingly violent. Maybe influenced by my mother's words. Corn lies. Frequently suspected of betrayal, suspected of betraying himself. They both argue often. Even Corn Kai forever beat up the suspect. To witness the increasingly excessive behavior of Engo Kai Vien, he was determined to take his son away. To stay away from the hurt. But she also knew that if she left Corn alone, you will have no source of income. So, anxious to bury the plan in his heart. To accumulate money, suspect stealthily returned as a flight attendant NBA. Previously, I was suspicious of borrowing heavily, due to the inability to pay. She was kidnapped by her creditors at home. This creditor is none other than Tran Van Muk, one of the 3 leaders of the case. He was with 2 of us. It's the money and the money. Murder of a suspect. After identifying the identities of the suspects, the police quickly pursued. The police received a report from the suspect Tran Van Hak. He was hiding in an apartment in the village. New world of this place. To point to kilometers to the north of Muonnan, and the way off the highway, the body was found about 12 kilometers away. Look at this important clue. The police immediately rushed to Tran Van Nok's apartment. He's in the kitchen cooking with his wife. The little child in the cradle. Faced with the sudden appearance of the police, Tran Van Muk was surprised. He couldn't believe that I was caught so quickly. After Tran Van Ngok was arrested, the police have more information about the case. They continue to pursue the other 2 suspects. It's the fatherly wage and the circular wage. Tran Van Ngok was arrested. The father and son quickly fled. 2 days later I knew I couldn't escape. The police officer has surrendered to the police. Wish to enjoy the clemency of the law. Now, the last suspect is Y. Still running away. Read the news that the conscience of the ancestors has poured animals. Afraid of his hiding place being revealed, Y has fled Hong Kong. Crossing the border to China. 6 received the information. Y has fled Hong Kong. Hong Kong police have contacted Interpol to coordinate the pursuit. 9 months later on a mission, the Chinese police accidentally discovered that he can't show his ID right now. Should have been arrested. Right after that, Liu was extradited to Hong Kong to face charges. The 33-year-old is the mastermind in this case. He's a cashier at a nightclub, and known the Antichrist for years. Outside Tran Van Music, he's also a member of a gangster gang, notorious to MILFs Nem. Liang is 26 years old and Liang is 19 years old. They all listen to his orders. 2 years ago the grandmother of the Antichrist was seriously ill. They need money urgently for treatment. The suspect's boyfriend, Corn, is a real addict. I've wiped out your savings. To have money, give your boyfriend a shot. The suspect risked stealing. You take advantage of your beauty to reach out and steal $8,000 worth of broken Hong Kong, about 26.00 at current exchange rate, and some other properties of Tran Van Hat. Discovered as stolen. Tran Van Muk immediately suspected Fan Mun suspicious. He ordered the 2 men, you are the father and the son, to Fan Mun's house to collect debts. At this point, Fan Man suspected that he had spent all the money stolen. She begged them for more time. He promised he'll find a way to pay the debt, to have money to pay off debts. Fan Mun was forced to continue as a call girl. At this point, Tran Van Ngok has become his brother. He forced her to sell sex to pay him back. Sometime later, I still suspect pregnancy. I don't know who the father is. Her heavy body made her unable to continue her practice. Even so, the 3 Qs still did not let go of her. They force you to have guests. Because of the pressure, you are powerless to listen. Hong Kong $8,000 debt portion Fan Mun. Paid $4,000. You think that I can escape this prison life. But did not expect. Tran Van Hak suddenly raised interest rates again. The $4,000 debt team ruined the remaining calm, up to 30,000 Hong Kong dollars. It turns out that Tran Van Ngok realized that he was suspicious. It's a big money machine. He doesn't want to let you go. I want to continue exploiting you. To make more money. Suspicious but dare not resist. Bite your teeth to endure. You keep selling. Put all the money earned to pay off the debt to Tran Vang Jae. A year after the rebellion, Ni paid Tran Van Ngoc an additional $14,000. Hong Kong, including the amount of HK $4,000 paid before. In total, she paid HK $18,000, about 58.5 million at current rate, far exceeding the initial debt of HK $8,000. Suspicious about family and my own life. You're too tired, with oppression and control of Tran Van Muk and his accomplices. She decided not to receive any more guests. They don't answer their debt calls. This act of doubt, it made Tran Vang Jiang and his friends very angry. They decided to teach you a lesson. 2 months before the case, Tran Van Ngoc, 2 of his sons are the master and the master, to the location of the suspect kidnapping her. They took her to apartment number 31. The saw injection was confined to a room on the 3rd floor. Building No. 31 Jilin Ui Street has 2 owners, due to dissent. So they didn't exploit this building, causing the facilities to degrade. Some apartments are vacant for rent. Tran Van Hak has 2 friends who live on the 2nd floor of the building. The apartment on the 3rd floor is empty. They introduced Tran Van music. In a 6-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor, Tran Van Ngoc and his wife live in room 4. My wife and I live in room 6. Salary and girlfriend are a local, living in room number 1. Suspect detained in room number BA. Tran Van Hat's wife just gave birth, so often at a friend's house downstairs to take care of. Sometimes I go upstairs. I slept with 2 friends on the 2nd floor. I often go to the 3rd floor. That's why for over a month, the suspect was detained in an apartment on the 3rd floor. There were 8 people who knew about her abuse. The first day of detention, Tran Van Muk questioned and shouted loudly, "Why don't you pay your debts and don't answer the phone?" He just ordered Falun Gong to beat up the suspect. Jiangluan. Kicking people repeatedly takes more than 50 shots. It's a weak woman. She couldn't withstand the brutal blows. I can only scream in pain. To avoid the cry of the Antichrist from getting out, Tran Van Jik and his friends. I've covered all the windows in the room with wood. Then Tran Van Muk, master's salary, stripped off the clothes of the Antichrist. Instead of violating you, Fan Man suspected of being tortured to the breaking point, lying motionless on the floor. 3 people are sitting next to me eating hot pot. She ate and laughed at her pain. During the excitement, they're also picking up hot pot food. Thrown at you, suspicious offender. You have to crawl like a dog to get food. The suspect, of course, did not cooperate. I saw that Tran Van Jiao picked up the food on the ground. You open your mouth and force yourself to eat. The suspect vomits violently because of disgust. Unfortunately, his leg vomited on Tran Van Jia's shirt. At this point, he couldn't escape, so he got angry. To pull the suspect up from the floor. Consecutive slaps in your face. Not angry yet, Tran Van had even poured boiling cooking oil into the mouth of the suspicious. Early morning the next day, Tran Van Hat was sleeping in room 4. The police sneaked into room number 3, where to detain suspect. They were strong on the rebels. It startled you to wake up. And then they use a heat lighter. It burned her feet, until the flesh burns and bleeds. And then they sprinkle chili powder on the bleeding wound. It didn't stop there. He even took straws and plastic bottles and put them on the fire, until the plastic flows out, and pour all that molten plastic to the feet of the Antichrist. Salary is standing next to me, gripping the legs of the Antichrist. I won't let you mess around. Her. They laugh when they see the pain, and threaten that if she screamed, she'd be beaten even worse. The molten plastic clings tightly to the flesh, causing the feet of complaining suspicious covered in sores and burns. Then they take the stick, break every spoonful of water and sprinkle chili powder on the open wound. Complaining suspiciously struggling in pain. Scream, mixed with moans echoing through the room. She fainted because of the pain. The Salvation Army stood up, urinating on the face of suspicious complaints. You see, the salary. Call your girlfriend is Asian to order her. 8 forced to eat all the food. For more than a month in captivity, suspicions are tortured almost every day. Being named here, I see your abuse as a hobby. They also give the Antichrist to smoke to tomorrow. You gradually become addicted, frequently scratching the scars on the body. To prevent the suspect from scratching the wound, 3 killers take turns using sticks. The iron beats savagely on her hands. Then they tied her hands with wires. Hang up discharge house. You have to bear the whole body weight for a long time. 2 hands of suspicious swelling and bruising. The band let you down again. I order you to put your hands on the floor and hit her hands with a stick until my blood is broken. 1 month after being detained. When the mind is not clear, the suspect stole Tran Van and Gog's tomorrow. Was discovered she was beaten by Bakir Council. Blow to the head. The suspect fell to the ground unconscious. People, this has happened many times. Sokir doesn't care. He even left her lying there, leaving the apartment to go. When I returned that night, they find Fan suspicious, lying unconscious in the toilet. Check to see if the suspect is alive. Tran Van Hat took a water pipe and crashed it into her chest. Now the body of the suspect reacts. I saw the suspect's body twitching. When a place of fear uttered. Chen Wenji and Liang Lun saw that and lied. Suspicious of being shocked by the post. After a while, the suspect lied still. It didn't stop there. Tran Van and Gok. Take the lighter and stick it in the legs of the suspect. It was so painful she pulled her leg back. They're dragging the Antichrist into the corner. Who goes to his bedroom? The next morning, Wade called his girlfriend up. Please come to see the suspicious situation. A way to go to the toilet. Suspect lying motionless on the floor. Worried she put her hand on the chest of suspicious. But your heart has stopped beating, your limbs are stiff. Too scared to run to the room. Tell the whole story for the salary. Lun and others. The suspect is dead. But they don't. May be interested in handling the body. Just let you lie there. Until a few days later. When Fan Man's body began to decompose. It smells bad. They just decided to deal with it. They pulled the body of the suspicious Fan from his toilet. Break your body into pieces. Put it in the refrigerator to wait for the time to take it away. To avoid suspicion. They're dividing body parts into plastic bags. Throw it in different landfills. After having flown most of the body parts, they found a plastic bag left over. Contains organs. Not throw it away, feel troublesome. The musician doesn't he want to go out anymore. Just throw that plastic bag out the window. Plastic bag fell on the awning. Now there's only the first part of the doubt. Need to be dealt with. Tran Van and Gok for the pot input. Boil for a while, and then remove to cool. He just looked at the lifeless face of the suspicious. Just made a mistake. Don't move. I'll make you up. Then, he took a mermaid-shaped Hello Kitty doll. Remove only one piece of the stuffed inside row. Put the hat of the suspicious Fan Man inside. And stitch it up after you've processed the body. They left the apartment. Leave the Hello Kitty doll. Contains the first part of Fan Min. In fact, a few weeks before I got the news from a ward, the police received several complaints from residents. He lives at 31 Jolene High Street, about smelling an unusual stench. At that time the police checked. But I didn't find anything suspicious. So they think the stench is caused by environmental pollution. After the case was solved, some people who live near the apartment said, around April and May, they often see some of the bear subjects back to the apartment above but didn't know who they were. Some people even heard the hashing emitted from the apartment on the 3rd floor. But the window is closed, so you can't see inside. A year and a half later, the case was heard in the Hong Kong Supreme Court, with the participation of 7 jurors. Tran Van and Gok. The father and son were charged with murder, abduction and obstruction of legal burial of the body. At the BA trial, the defendant only admitted kidnapping and obstructing the burial of the body. Completely deny the murder. The master said that they're just following orders from Tran Van and Gok. A local witness said he did not directly witness the death of the traitor. The suspect doesn't know the specific cause. Defense lawyer. Rebels don't die of attack. It's because of tomorrow's shock, too. However, the prosecution objected. According to the testimony of the defendant, he's seen it. Blood flows from the ears of the Antichrist. This proves that the suspect died of a violent beating. After 2 months of trial, the jury, by a margin of 6, declared Father B accused not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter. The Hong Kong Supreme Court has sentenced Chen, Master's salary, guilty of manslaughter and a number of other crimes, with a life sentence not pardoned before 25. The highest sentence for manslaughter. No one else has been charged in this case. The accused agreed with the court's decision. Appealed to the Court of Appeal. Trần Van Gogh and Len remain in prison. The police officer successfully appealed. Before the case happened, the police officer advised him to pay the debt, even though there's no real evidence, but it can be confirmed that, in the days of suspicious death, the police officer was not present at the apartment. 2004 based on the expression of conscience in prison. And the sixth surrendered. After the crime, the appellate court judge commuted the sentence from life to 18 years in prison. For 2014, Salary was released from prison. In December 2021, 7 years after his release from prison, the police continue to commit crimes. He changed cards with his 10-year-old daughter. His friend's age with the excuse of helping raft girls massage. Salary Tinsu. One more time. Hands in handcuffs number 8 with a 12-month prison sentence. It's true that Jeong's son is easy to change and difficult to leave. The case of putting bodies into Hello Kitty dolls. It shocked Hong Kong and the world. A lot of people are curious. We went to Building 31 Jolene High Street. People live and trade here. I feel very insecure. Move in turn. The apartment where the case occurred was also abandoned. No one dares to come. Many people said they've encountered strange phenomena in the building above. Someone saw a Hello Kitty doll. It's exactly the same as the doll that had the victim's head thrown next to the trash. But the doll is clean. Someone is watching the security camera. Detect the shadow of people passing by at night. But it's not theft. It makes them very nervous. Today, the building number 31 has been destroyed. Rebuild another building. The story of a horrific murder. They also gradually sink into oblivion. Few people know that where the busy street that used to be where the murder happened. It's so haunted. Today's video ends here. See you in the next videos. Hello.